Do I need to elaborate on this photo? Harry Kane is on a mission, everyone. This guy is unbelievable. You take one of the most consistent strikers over the past 10 years from an inconsistent team and put him in one of the best teams on the planet, what is there to expect other than fireworks? Sure, let's be real, we all knew he was going to do damage, but even still, I don't know if I was mentally ready for all of this. In the last 10 years, Harry Kane has scored at the very least 20 goals in a season. That's very impressive. That includes this year. It's November. He's only needed 16 games to do it in his debut season in Germany. He's a cheat code. He's well on course to matching and surpassing a record that once took half a century to break. Robert Lewandowski is out here pumping out the TikToks in an effort to distract him, but my guy, I don't think it's working. Please stop. Harry Kane is a monster. We've all known about his abilities for years now, but now we're seeing him really begin to unlock his full potential. The question on everyone's mind, though, is what is in store for Harry Kane and Bayern Munich? Yo, what is going on, everyone? Really hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe, welcome back to the channel. From an onlooker's perspective, it's really very hard not to like Harry Kane. Being passed up by several teams, going on failed loan spells, being a failed goalkeeper, breaking through with 20 plus goals per season consistently, yet still having people doubt his class, no major scandal, married his childhood girlfriend, MBE, advocate for normalizing conversations around mental health. Fair play, my man. Fair play. Is it even fair that Bayern Munich have had two of the top 5 strikers in world football over the last 5 years, over a period of about 3 years or so? This over here is my list in no exact order. Fight me in the comments, I dare you. In Robert Lewandowski's reminding, the record Lewandowski broke that year was a 49-year-old goal-scoring record held by the late, great Gerd Müller. Müller scored 40 goals, Lewandowski 41. Here we have a chart of the goal-scoring progression for all three players over the course of the season. It paints a very telling picture of what we're dealing with in Harry Kane. The man has scored 17 goals after only 11 league games, with an additional 4 in the Champions League. And something tells me he's only getting started. I feel like we're getting better each game. Kane said this after Bayern battered Borussia Dortmund 4-0 in the Klassiker, a match where he scored a hat-trick. In fact, he has a hat-trick of hat-tricks so far already. And he's also quite petty. Went all the way to Germany, yet couldn't help but score an assist versus United. Nice one. Whoever was in charge of driving the narrative that Harry Kane was this close to joining Man United really needs to reveal themselves right now. I just want to talk. I'm certain that the idea did come across the minds of Harry Kane and his team throughout the entire process while everything was going on, but I don't think they considered it for more than a couple of seconds. Going to Man United after about 2013 is a massive risk, even if you're going just for a bag, just to secure the check. Especially if you're someone like Harry Kane, who's got all the money in the world. Every big team in the world is offering him all the money in the world. What he really needs now is trophies. It's safe to say that this man has been settling in very well to life in Munich, which might not seem like the case to some. Of course, this isn't helped by headlines that say that he's been living out of a hotel for the past few months. It seems his family has yet to join him. Then again, if said hotel is going for £10,000 a night, as is being reported, I can't imagine he's feeling any sort of discomfort. At the same time, the reports came from The Sun, so we never know, do we? 100 million euros look like a bad deal to some, although I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people that felt that way aren't going to be too quick to reveal themselves anytime soon. He's already outscored Bayern Munich's top goal scorer from last season. Serge Gnabry scored 17 goals all year, Kane's already scored 21, and again, it's November. After the first few games, I said it would take a few games for the others to get to know me. I'm not just a regular number 9 who stays up all the time. I like to come deep. He's not wrong. We go on about this all the time, and every time this topic comes up, we all come to the same conclusion. A more complete number 9 does not exist in world football right now. It's very arguable that that's been the case for years now. Anyone that watches the Premier League knows that what I'm saying is not recency bias in the slightest. Every salty PL fan is just more comfortable saying it now that he isn't their team's problem anymore, and he plays for one of the top dogs. Talking briefly on players like Robert Lewandowski, Erling Haaland, Karim Benzema, I'll even add players like Victor Osimhen, Lautaro Martinez, just to name some of the world-renowned number 9s in world football right now. All of those players are devastating and offer something great. I'm not here to talk about which one is better or worse for whatever purpose, this or that. What I'm saying is that Harry Kane offers something different. something so unique. You know, he's played in so many roles as an attacker, and he's mastered so many of them. I guess he had to when you look at the Spurs sides that he played in over the years and how, you know, he kind of had to make up for all their inadequacies. I'm not going to name names. I watched the Klassiker a week or two back, and Dortmund just did not know how to deal with him. By doing what he does best, he just dumbfounds defenders with his movements. One of his classic moves is he comes deep. Defenders are caught between two minds, wondering whether they should follow him or stick to their positions. The wide men are given free rein to push forward. He's bolstering the midfield, meaning that there are now numerical advantages. It just creates chaos. And when it works well. But sometimes it doesn't. There are always two sides to every story. Bayern Munich as a collective are not as strong as we've known them to be over the years. They don't look as bad as they did at certain points last year, but at the same time, the doubts still exist. After Bayern drew 2-2 to Leipzig, dropping very crucial points a few weeks ago, Thomas Tuchel said, "We weren't there. We weren't on the pitch at all. It took ages for us to implement the plan, to find spaces. We made too many mistakes. The game was static and slow." He was mostly referring to the first half where Bayern went into the interval at 2 goals down, and what I can only imagine was a stern talking to was what they needed to, salvage a point. This is also the same Leipzig that beat Bayern 3-0 in the Super Cup at the start of the season, embarrassing a team that had managed to just scrape their 11th Bundesliga title in a row. They also robbed Harry Kane of receiving his first ever major trophy in professional football, something that was probably well received in certain parts of North London. Adding on to some of the concerns, it's only been a few weeks since they suffered a 2-1 defeat against 3rd division side Saarbrücken in the DFB Pokal. They've suffered an unideal amount of injuries and suspensions over the past few weeks, particularly in those important areas behind the front line. Kimmich and Goretzka simply do not track back, meaning that they'll likely be heavily in the market for a specialized CDM, which they're not going to be the only one too. Liverpool, for example, are also there, so might be a bit tricky. What I will say is that Leimer was an incredible utility signing and workhorse, but they need someone more specialized. Manuel Neuer may never ski again after suffering what I can only imagine was a very avoidable long-term injury. Manu went skiing in December 2022 and spent 350 days on the sideline before returning at the end of October. We can only hope he gets back to his best in the coming months. All of this contributes to an overall problem with consistency. Even though players like Jamal Musiala, Kingsley Coman, Leroy Sané, they're all having good seasons so far, but the fact that they haven't been playing with a true number 9 for over a year is really showing at times. They just don't really seem to see Kane's runs sometimes. They kind of run into his channels at times too. That does seem to be changing though. Who would have thought all we'd have to do was be patient and let them adjust? It's rocket science. The results may not show it sometimes, and if you take a look at the Bundesliga table, you might easily brush it off, but Bayern over the course of almost all of 2023 are a bit of a mixed bag. Whenever Bayern have taken to the pitch over the last year or so, you don't always fully know which Bayern is going to show up, what tactics they're going to use, how they're going to look, the overall picture of it all, and I will admit, they do definitely have problems, but the severity of the problems I would say is mostly media driven. 29 points out of a potential 33 points available, while scoring an average of 4 goals a game, is as close to perfection as any team not named Bayern Munich can ask for in Germany. That's amazing, but why is it not that amazing, and why are people still giving Bayern grief? They're number 2. One classy Spanish dude is outclassing the league better, and looks more convincing at that. That's probably where the real story lies, where all the negativity and criticism is stemming from. It's important that there is always some sort of controversy surrounding Hollywood FC. Some headlines are claiming that Bayern are overly reliant on Kane. This is something that isn't uncommon for Bayern either. Frank Ribery, Robert Lewandowski, Arjen Robben, just to name a few, Bayern have been accused of being overly reliant on them in the past, which I don't think is that big of a deal. It's kind of a non-issue. Name me one successful team in world football that hasn't been over-reliant on one important player to some extent at times. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because there is currently a team in the league that is being widely heralded for being the dictionary definition of a cohesive unit. Bayer Leverkusen are on top. None of their players feature in the league's top 5 scoring individuals, nor have any of them scored more than 7 in the current campaign. However, Leverkusen players dominate the assist charts. As long as this is still the case and it's working and the narrative persists, Bayern will be an easy target for criticism. all of that is just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. Am I crazy? On the topic of the Bundesliga and outrageous scoring, we can't forget the scoring exploits of Serhou Guirassy either. The Stuttgart man has been on fire lately, and kind of out of nowhere. 27 years old, and he's already outscored his best goal-scoring season to date with 16 so far in all competitions. He's no stranger to a hat-trick himself. He's bagged 2 so far this season. Some may even be surprised to know that on a goal-per-game basis, Guirassy sits above Kane, 1.67 goals per game versus 1.54 for Kane. Hey, they rhymed. Both of these stats ultimately may not mean that much, particularly because we're just under a third of the way through the season, but here is some food for thought. This is the same chart from earlier, showing the Bundesliga's record breakers. This is where Guirassy sits. It's quite remarkable. Who knows how this season will ultimately end up? And there we have it. Let me know what you think about Kane, Guirassy, Leverkusen, Munich, all of it. I don't know, just put it all in the comments. I read all the comments. Feel free to follow all the socials. Feel free to subscribe. That's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.